Hello, future Alex or people of YouTube or expats or friends, family, whoever I end up showing this video to. Future kid, hello. I hope to meet you. That would be nice. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about what I've been going through and maybe some concerns or tips for other women who've decided to give birth abroad and maybe are lacking things like a support system or a group to turn to, and it can be very isolating. So this is for any other women who are living in Indonesia and the culture is new and you're not quite sure, and some personal story time, I suppose. How to deal with pregnancy while you're here. It can be very difficult. I also have a cousin who gave birth overseas in northern Africa, and she also had a really rough go of it. And I met her while she was pregnant, actually. She came to Indonesia for a short while for actually a language learning workshop. And she was explaining all of the difficulties and challenges as well as rewards. And I think that kind of helped give me a little bit of confidence. There's also a YouTuber called Sasha Stevens. She's from Canada. She has been living in Indonesia for, I think, over 15 years. And she recently gave birth and documented a lot of that. Some of the first U.S. representatives with trailing wives or from England coming to Indonesia, and then, their wives don't have anybody but a couple of maids, and then they're pregnant. And it's like, well, if this bitch can do it, that's not a good reason to get pregnant. Wham bam, thank you ma'am version of the story is we decided we weren't going to have a kid in Indonesia, and then as we got more comfortable and realized how long the visa process would take, we decided to squeeze one in there. Pretty much. We decided we had a lot of securities that we should maybe take advantage of. We have insurance we will potentially have insurance through my husband. We bought private insurance for myself. One woman stated that in the same city I'm living in now, Bandung, I think for 3 days of hospitalization, including all the food, medicine, care, as well as her C-section, ended up being $3,000 out of pocket. I know that's something that we can achieve and pay for here if we needed it. I do believe that by the time I'm ready to deliver, however, we will have additional insurance through my husband's company, which is based in Indonesia. It's pretty exciting. So, now that you know how we got here, without getting into the hot and heavy details, I'm sure you figured out how that happened. Ew. I mean, ew for you, not ew for me. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have shared that, maybe. I think I am about, at this point, probably 4 weeks pregnant. Sounds really weird to say it out loud. We only took one pregnancy test and it showed up negative. I took it right at the beginning of when I should have maybe, but my period's a little irregular. So, anyway, long story short, we didn't get another test. It's been a while. I should be experiencing my second round of PMS and I'm not. So I've been pretty sure that I was pregnant, and I kept telling Rio, I feel it, man, I'm pregnant. And then I kind of psyched myself out for a little bit there. I was like, oh shit, but what if I'm not? And then I got back into this. I was waiting for that moment that so many women describe, they know that they're pregnant. They just feel it. Am I pregnant? You want that moment to be beautiful and everything. And the moment I got an internal, yes girl, you're pregnant, I was sitting on the back of our motorcycle staring at some trash on the side of the road during a red light. And I was so mad. My inner voice was like, yeah, you're pregnant. And I was like, no, this is the moment. Please don't be the moment. But it was. So things that I've been experiencing in the last couple of weeks, I think I knew I was really actually pregnant because I got so tired. And I'm usually cranky and tired in the mornings. I've only been slapped by my mother once. And it was in the morning because I give so much attitude and I'm just not very pleasant to be around. I remember waking up one morning and being like, I don't want to get out of bed. And this was not a normal mental fuzziness. This was like a feeling of my body just, there's no way I'm leaving this spot right now. I have always had a very, very sensitive stomach. That's been a big issue moving to Indonesia because the food is just not the same quality as far as hygiene. I think the food itself actually is packed with more vitamins and minerals, and I've lost a lot of weight in a healthy way. I've lost, I think, around 20 pounds last time I checked. Since moving to Indonesia, and that's actually with a decrease in my exercise routine. So before coming to Indonesia, I used to bike ride to university a couple of miles at least once a week, or taking the bus and doing some light walking to cover the rest of the distance uphill. Sense of smell, crazy heightened a couple of days ago, but then it was fine. I was super nauseous and I found out I was throwing up because of my prenatal vitamin. So I'm experimenting with something else in the meantime, doing half or crushing it and seeing where that goes. I did buy some folic acid supplements since I know that's super important, and eating a lot of vegetables. I love bok choy with pasta, just like quickly blanched, a little olive oil, which is expensive in Indonesia. It's very hard to manage the food choices. So for example, street food is huge in Indonesia. It's very easy to pull onto the side of the road and just get like some fried duck or some fried chicken, but what they serve it with is usually like a slice of raw tomato or raw cucumber. Man, I love tomatoes so much. I love them so much, and my husband doesn't, so he usually takes them, he gives them to me. So you have to be careful about any raw vegetable, because if it's not cleaned or cooked, the transportation of the vegetable is an issue, and on top of that, the problem is also the cooking utensils that the chefs use. So if you want to eat something or you get a craving, it better be fried or cooked at a very high temperature. So if we take that stuff home, I end up throwing the extra raw vegetables in a little bit of oil and sauteing them just to burn off any of that, I don't know, hepatitis? I don't know what's on the food that makes me so sick. And actually, I got a huge case of food poisoning when I was first pregnant. I think in the first or second week, I'm not sure. And it was definitely food poisoning. I know my way around food poisoning. I know what to do. But it was so debilitating. I was close to passing out every time I stood up. I couldn't keep anything down. And as I was throwing up one morning, the morning of that, my husband was like, "Are you pregnant? Is this morning sickness? Or do you have food poisoning?" I was like, why not both? It was horrible. I basically just cross-referenced all the information I found on food poisoning with all the information I found about pregnancy, and I came up with a little list. So here's some things that might help. No raw vegetables, no raw anything really, unless it's something that you peel. I used to eat apples every week with peanut butter. Indonesians don't appreciate peanut butter, but I do. And I opted instead of those for dragon fruit, bananas. There's probably nothing wrong with apples if you give them a good wash, but I I know the Indonesian mentality, and someone will go from stocking something at the grocery store to picking up trash without a thought, and I'm sure in most cases there's nothing to worry about, but just for peace of mind and just because I'm so susceptible to stomach issues, I just it has to have a skin on it that I peel back and don't eat. Oatmeal is really good. You can find brands of oatmeal. Actually, Quaker's Oats is in Indonesia, at least. They're available in almost every Indomart, Alphamart I know of, which is our version of 7-Eleven. And they're great because you can make it quickly, and then you can put in any fruit or vegetable and honey, and it tastes like home to me, even though when I lived in the US I hated oatmeal. And there's all sorts of Indonesian fruits, like snakeskin fruit. I think it's called salek, but they're a little brown. They look like a huge oversized teardrop almost, but brown with snakeskin. And those are really good. Oranges are great, and the Chinese here in Indonesia love tangerines and oranges, so they're easy to find in almost any grocery store, especially the upscale ones, because most ethnically Chinese backgrounds are rich, and it's an important part of their culture as well. So those are easy to find, which is great. My battery's low, so I'm gonna wrap this up, and I hope you are well. Thanks for watching.